Hi React developers, thank you for joining to my channel. In that video we are going to go over some basic animations using React Native Animated API. I hope by the end of the video you will have a clear understanding of steps needed to create your own animations. So let's get started. Let's start exploring Animated API with fading animation. Let's look how it works. Nice fade in and fade out effect. So let's look into the code base, what's going on. The first thing that we need with animation is to create a variable that we are going to animate. Animated gives us ability to create animated variable into two approaches. With two approaches, is by using Animated.Value hook, or also the old approach, or like the old approach using userref. It's the similar approaches you can use whenever you want. The second thing that we need is to render animated component. Since we are going to animate the view, so we will use Animated.View component, but Animated goes also with some another built-in component. We will not go through all of them into that video, maybe next time. Okay, so we have a render of the animated component, and we need to bind our animated value to the style that we want to animate. Since we are going to achieve fade in, fade out effects, so we need to animate opacity style prop. So we bind our animated value to that to the property, or we can say that we just assign it to the opacity. And the fourth thing that we need, we need the animated function that will animate our variable. Animated also goes with some built-in function, is the timing, and there's also another one, but in general we will use the timing, and we will discover only that one into this video. So the first parameter that we will pass into the timing, it's our animated variable, and the second parameter is our animated config. So toValue property is a value that we are going to achieve with this into this function. So by default our opacity is 0. So we are going to achieve fade in effect. So we are changing our opacity to 1. The second thing that we want to pass is is duration. It's the duration, how much time does it take for animation to the end. The third thing is to use native driver prop. It's a really important prop that gives React Native understanding where the React Native should calculate calculate the animation. If we pass true, so the calculation we will execute on main thread. If we will pass false, so it means that the animation will calculate on the JavaScript thread. In general, you need always pass true, because you will achieve a better performance and you will not have some bottlenecks when your JavaScript thread is busy. So I think that you will never need it to pass use native driver false here. And then we need to call start function, and we can pass callback here. Start function give us prop if our animation ended. And let's open the console. I have cleared it. When I press fade in, as we can see, our by default animated variables that was 0, changed her value to 1 with duration of 1 second. And also I have another one function that will change the animated value to 0. Let's look how it works. If you want, you can play with this example. I will share the repository into the GitHub. So let's again, to repeat, to create in general basic animation, you need 4 things. The first, you need to declare an animated variable. You need render animated component. You need bind your animated variable to the style prop that you want to animate. And the last things, you need to call animated function that will animate your variable. Okay, so let's look into another one example. Okay, let's go through another one example. Let's watch what we have. What animation do we have? So here we have 3 types of animation. The top of the block, you're already familiar, is fade in. The second one, we are moving our object, so it's called transform animation. And here we changing transform X property. And the third one, the third block changed his color. And you may be thinking that we have 3 different animation values to animate these 3 different blocks, but it's not true. If you already looked, we have interpolate function. What gives us interpolate function? What ability? It gives us ability to transform input range of input animated value to some output range. And if we will go to the types of the interpolate function, we see that input range should be the numbers, but the output range could be the numbers of the strings. Let's give me a chance to explain how it works. So interpolates. So we have to, as the first things, we need to decide of which animated value we are going to interpolate. So since we have the 1 opacity, so we're going to interpolate opacity. We know that opacity changed from 0 to 1, so it's our input range. And we want that React under the hood transform our range from 0 to 1 to another range from 0 to 50. And that means when the opacity equals 0, that translate X also equals 0. And when opacity equals 50, the translate X also will equal 50. Let's look how it works. So we have our first block with opacity, and our second block is translate X. So when we pressing the start button, let's give me to show, we just changing our opacity value to 1. What does it mean? So when the animated value equals the 1, the translate X property changed to 50. We also can set some additional points into that range, but we should mention, I need to mention that the same number of points should be into both of the arrays. In another case, we will have an error. So let's maybe move back. Interpolation. So let's play with this value. For example, let's say that when the input range equal 0.5, let's change our output range to -50 and then to 50, for example, how it works. So What does it mean? What we will see here. So when our opacity increased and our opacity equal 0.5 is the center of changing, our translate x should change to -50. So our block goes to the left. And then when opacity goes from 0.5 to 1, our translate x should be changed to 50. Okay, that's how it works. Let's look at this third block. Here we have, like, as I said, output range could be not only the numbers, it could be also the strings. And Reanimated gives us a ability to put it, and it could transform the colors by himself. So we just setting that when opacity equals 0, the output range, so our background color should be the red. And when the opacity equals 1, our background color should be blue. Let's look again. Sure, so for now our opacity is 0, we do not see the first block, the third block, the red, and we push start. We see how smoothly React Native changed the value of that block. Again, we can play here with number of points. For example, we can put here, so when opacity equals 0.5, let's say that our block should be yellow. And we see that in the middle we have that yellow button. If you will see that when I press back, animation changed faster, is because of there was duration 200 milliseconds instead of 1000 milliseconds. So let's change it equally to 1000 and 1000. So for now it works the same when I start and I go back. Let's look through another one example. Here we have transform animation, where we change the position of our block. Let's go through the code. We have the first one is declaring our animated value. We have render of animated component. We have binding, and we have functions that change our animated value. But let's change a little bit our code and add some computation onto the JavaScript thread. Let's call move left and let's call move right. What we have here, the function that doesn't work. If we open the console, we see that there are lots of console logs goes through here. What does it mean? It means, since we set use native driver false, it means for React Native that we want that our animation executes onto JavaScript thread. But if our JavaScript thread is busy, that means that React Native cannot execute our animations since it's busy with some another one computations. And as you can see, if we will set use native driver false, user can see that ability, sees that problems with animations. What does it mean for us as for developers? That we shouldn't set use native driver false. Let me restart the server. And let's change it back to the true. Let's go to the example. And let's call move right. As you can see, since JavaScript thread is busy, anyway, the animation worked. For now, for example, as you can see, why the animation doesn't work when I pressed left is because since the JavaScript thread is busy, the event from native side, from the native thread couldn't be loaded to the JavaScript. But our first animation worked as we expected. Let's go to another one example. Let's go to the example animated with. Let's look through the code. We have creation of our animated value. We have render of animated view. We have binding, and we have functions that change our animated value to 100 and back to 20. Okay, let's call that functions, and we have an error. We have an error that style property with is not supported by native animated module. What does it mean for us is it means that when we set use native drivers true, React Native Animated API couldn't change the style properties with, for example, the width, border width, height on the animated side, on the native thread. By the way, if we set use native driver false, and try to change, let's rebuild the server. Okay, we have changed our properties use native driver to false. We'll see that for now it's work. So what does it mean? That with Animated API, we could change style properties as width, height, border width, for example, but only on JavaScript thread. And it means that when, as we saw in the previous example, that when the JavaScript thread is busy, it means that user will have, that user could see lagging into the animation. As you can see, React Native Animated API is not a silver bullet. It has its own pros and cons, but I think it's a good starting point for you as a developer to discover the world of animations in React Native. In the next video, I'm going to compare React Native Reanimated with React Native Animated API in terms of development, performance, including the animations that we already discovered into the current video. Thank you for the watching. See you in the next video.